Good morning again, church.
Morning.
All right, so today's message is not on the readings that we read. It's on a parable found in Matthew chapter 13, I believe verse 47. I'll read it for you. It says, "Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a net. The kingdom of heaven is like a net that is thrown into the sea and catches fish of every kind. And when it's full, they drew it ashore, sat down, and put the good into the basket, but threw out the bad. So it will be at the end of the age." I will strive to give you not just an entertaining message, but a message that will be helpful for us, hopefully for the rest of the week. So I'll start with a story. Perhaps a parable that you've heard before. It's an old Chinese parable that talks about an old farmer, widow, and his son. And the Chinese farmer and his son labor day and night, day after day, at their farm. They labor through the cold winter months and during the scorching days of summer. They labor with their strength and with the help of their last remaining horse. One day, the son, tired from a full day's work, forgot to fully latch the gate of the stable closed. And at night, their sole horse escaped. So when the neighbors learned of what had happened, they came to the farmer, and with great sadness they said, it's so sad. Now without your horse, you won't be able to work the land and pay your bills and maintain the farm. What a failure. What a disgrace. What a tragedy that your son forgot to latch the door closed. And to this the farmer answered, maybe so, maybe not. A couple days passed, and the missing horse returned to the farmer's stable. One day he was just there, but he wasn't alone. He brought along with it 6 wild horses. So the farmer's son, without missing a beat, locked the gate of the stable firmly behind all 7 horses. In a matter of a couple of days, they had multiplied their fortune. And when the neighbors had heard, they came back to the farmer, but this time rejoicing. With such happiness! What luck! 7 horses! Now you'll be able to be even more productive than ever. You can even sell some of the horses and make a profit. What a blessing! And again, the farmer replied, maybe not. In the ensuing days, the son was working with the horses, trying to break them. And he was on one of the wild horses, and the wild horse bucked him and threw him off, and he fell hard on the ground and broke his left femur. And again, the neighbors came to the farmer and with great sadness said, now your son won't be able to help you. What a tragedy. How was he so careless? What a failure in dealing with the horses. And again, the farmer replied, maybe not. The day after he broke his leg, a general from the Imperial Chinese Army arrived to conscribe all the young men of the village into the army. Their assignment was a dangerous one. They were to fight on the front lines of a battle against a terrifying enemy of overwhelming forces. The farmer's son, because of his broken leg, was not taken. And when the neighbors learned of what happened, they came to the farmer and exclaimed, what great joy! Your son avoided almost certain death on the front lines of the battle. What a blessing! And the farmer replied, maybe yes, maybe no. The sorting waits until the shore. We live, as you know, making judgments every single day. We decide what is a blessing and what is a curse, who's trustworthy and who is downright dangerous, who's succeeding in life and who is failing. We long for certainty. We want to know right now how the story ends, and that is when the parable comes in. That again, the kingdom of heaven is like a net that's thrown into the water and catches all manner of fish. When it's full, they draw it ashore, they sit down and then put the good into the basket and throw out the bad. So it will be in the end of the age. The angels will come out and separate the good from the bad. And while the parable ends with God's final judgment, I don't think that is where Jesus expects us to linger. I think this parable is less about identifying the good fish and differentiating them between them and the bad one. I think this parable has to do more with living in and with ambiguity. The net does not discern, it does not discriminate as it is cast out. It gathers fish of all kinds, and while we might wish for a net that only catches the right fish, the appropriate fish, the fish that we want, that's not how the kingdom works. The sorting has to wait until the shore, because only then can it be properly done. Until that day, the fisherman's task is not to judge the catch, but to keep casting the net. Jesus reminds us that there is a time for gathering and a time for judgment, and those are not at the same time. How often do you and I face similar dilemmas? If not with fish, although I'm sure some of you might be fishermen or fisherwomen, but with a multitude of other difficult choices. How often do we look at someone that's, battling addiction, and we conclude in our minds, they're never going to change? How often do we look at a struggling teenager and decide that they'll never amount to much? How often do we look ourselves in the mirror and see our failures and our weaknesses and proclaim that that's just who we are? Or, do you see what I mean, church? Our lives are littered with situations where there is no easy answer. I had a friend when I was in high school, and my wife was going to smile because she knows exactly who I'm talking about. My mother made it no secret that she did not like him. How did I know? Because she continually renamed him whatever she wanted. One day he's Kevin, the other day Devin, the other week Levin. It didn't matter to her. It was a way of thinly veiled effort to show her disapproval. Now, I must admit, he wasn't the greatest influence on my life, but boy, was he fun. He was my friend. And in some ways, I lived vicariously through him and watching some of his choices help me decide that, you know what, that's not what I want for myself. I'm not telling you this story in order to show you like, oh, I'm the good fish, the righteous fish, and he's just a shark. No! After all, birds of a feather flock together, right? No, I tell you this story because he wasn't simply the bad kid. No. He had a life, he has a name, no matter how many times my mother willingly mispronounced it. He had dreams. He could be generous. He could be loyal, and he was always hilarious. He stood beside me on my wedding night. What a day. Eventually, our lives took different paths. Literally and figuratively. I moved over to New York, he stayed in Puerto Rico, and over time we lost touch. I honestly don't know where where life has taken him. I don't know what kind of husband or father or neighbor or friend he has become. My mother thought she knew. She thought she knew who he was, and looking back, I realized that I don't know where his life ends. I don't know where his story ends, and neither did my mom. And I think that's the point. You and I don't get to write the final chapter of anybody's story. Perhaps you like movies and you've seen a movie, it's a couple years old, but it gained a lot of acclaim, called Schindler's List. If you know that story or that movie, you know that it is the story of Oskar Schindler, a German businessman, who saved over 1,000 Polish Jews from concentration camps during World War II. One of the people that he saved spoke about Schindler, and he said that he was our father, our mother, our only hope, and he never let us down. Yeah, if you've seen the movie or know more about this historical event, you might be surprised or perhaps put off by his many, many vices. Schindler fell prey to many human vices. Let's just say he wasn't a saint. In fact, he was a man riddled with contradictions. He was seriously unfaithful to his wife. He certainly knew how to enjoy the good life, like drinks. He was an alcoholic. Womanizing, cigars. He was a Roman Catholic, but just in name. He was also a member of the Nazi Party, and his aim during the war was to become richer than he was at the start of the war. And to do that, he exploited cheap Jewish labor. He wasn't the greatest of us, not a paragon of virtue. But there was also another side to him, a better side. Both lived within him. There was goodness about him. As the war, kept progressing, he became appalled at the horrors of the final solution. And at considerable personal risk, he was arrested multiple times. At his own risk, he protected his workers from the death camps. Schindler was no angel, but he wasn't a full devil either. He was perhaps just human, with goodness, but also flaws. Perhaps, depending who was looking and judging, he could have been both the good or the bad fish. Perhaps one of the ways that the parable speaks to us is by reminding us how difficult it is to imagine ourselves as only one kind of fish. If we're honest, most of us can recognize both generosity and selfishness within ourselves. If we're honest with ourselves, we will see both courage and fear in our hearts, both faithfulness and failure in our souls. At any given time, we could be either the good fish or the bad fish, both sinner and righteous. The famous psychologist Carl Jung talked about personalities having a shadow side, a side that we must learn to recognize and befriend. And Paul talks about this in his own way. In Romans chapter 7, he cries out, "The good that I want I do not do, but the evil I do not want to do is what I do." Martin Luther, the author of the Reformation, also captured this tension in the phrase, simul justus et peccator, at the same time righteous and sin. And John Wesley, in his own way, spoke about a lifelong work of sanctification, of God's grace continuing to transform us. Different voices pointing to the same truth, that we are unfinished people. Projects at work. And while we wait for the shore, Jesus gives us work to do. We are not called to carry the baskets. We are not called to see through the fish. We are called to cast the net. We are not called to decide who is beyond God's grace. We are called to just extend that grace. We are not called to write the final chapters of people's stories. We are called to trust the author who is still writing them. The good news of this parable is not simply that one day there will be judgment. The good news is that until we reach the shore, all of us are in the hands of the fishing. And thanks be to God, the story waits.